History shows us, in fact, the same thing that we observe in the life of every individual: a constant movement, without aim and without rest, in which everything is always essentially the same. What is and has been is what will be. The same scenes repeat themselves with new actors, the same stage props with slightly altered decorations. The ages, with all their noise and turmoil, produce nothing new. They are like kaleidoscopes, which, in spite of their constant turning, show at the bottom the same figures, only slightly altered in shape. Thus, while history, with all its changing scenes, teaches us constantly new details, it does not teach us anything really new, but only what was always known. It is like the course of a man's life. In youth it is full of expectations. In age it is full of recollections. At bottom, however, it is the same throughout. What is the end of history? The same as the end of the life of the individual: death and decay. When Schopenhauer writes that history shows us the same thing we observe in the life of every individual, he's not merely offering a cynical aphorism. He's articulating a metaphysical vision of the world as will an endless striving that moves without purpose or culmination. To understand this passage, we must remember that, for Schopenhauer, the world is not governed by reason or progress, but by an irrational, blind, and insatiable force, what he calls the will to live. In this light, history is not a linear ascent from ignorance to enlightenment, nor a moral drama moving toward justice. It is a restless repetition, the ceaseless shuffling of human desire through new costume. What was and has been, he says, is what will be. The actors change, but the play remains the same. Every epoch believes itself unique, yet each merely reenacts the same fundamental pattern of ambition, suffering, conquest, and decay. Schopenhauer's image of the kaleidoscope captures this beautifully. A kaleidoscope turns endlessly, producing dazzling new forms, yet the pieces inside, the colored shards, never change. Civilization may appear to evolve. We trade swords for missiles, parchment for silicon, temples for stock exchanges. But beneath these surface rearrangements, the underlying structure of human striving remains. Desire still drives us. Frustration still dogs us. The pattern shifts, but the essence endures. This vision directly challenges the Enlightenment faith in progress. The idea that through science, reason, and moral development, humanity steadily improves. For Schopenhauer, improvement is an illusion projected by the will itself, desperate to justify its own motion. The will can never be satisfied. Therefore, it must convince itself that its striving serves some higher purpose: freedom, justice, civilization. But the philosopher strips away this self-deception. History, he insists, produces nothing new. It is an infinite recycling of the same tragedy under new direction. In the second paragraph, Schopenhauer draws the analogy to the individual life. Youth and age mirror history's false art. Youth is full of expectations, the belief that something truly new lies ahead. Age is full of recollections, the realization that it was all one continuous motion toward dissolution. Yet both are the same life, animated by the same will. The man at 20 and the man at 70 are not separate beings on a journey, but two moments in a single futile oscillation between desire and regret. Finally, he asks, what is the end of history? His answer is as bleak as it is consistent: death and decay. Just as the individual's striving ends in exhaustion and dissolution, so too must civilization. Empires crumble, ideas fade, and humanity returns to the dust from which it came. The will consumes itself, only to rise again in some new form. A new empire, a new faith, a new delusion. Yet this is not nihilism for its own sake. Schopenhauer's purpose is diagnostic, not merely despairing. By recognizing the will's cyclical futility, one gains a form of insight, a calm detachment. The wise man, he believes, sees through the glittering illusion of progress and finds a measure of peace in resignation, even compassion. For if all striving leads to suffering, then the only true moral response is pity, gentleness, and the quiet refusal to perpetuate the cycle. So when Schopenhauer tells us that history, like life itself, ends in death and decay, he is not calling for hopelessness. He is pointing to liberation through clarity. To see the kaleidoscope for what it is, to perceive the sameness beneath all novelty, is to awaken from the fever of the will. That, for him, is the nearest we come to wisdom, and perhaps to peace.